So in this particular segment, we're going to be speaking about entrepreneurship and passion and what that means for millennials and how we can use that to drive success in our own lives. Welcome to Kenny's Concepts, where the beauty of knowledge is our passion. On this channel, we share useful insights to help you on your personal and professional development journey. If you haven't already, kindly like, share, and subscribe. So we're continuing our series surrounded around concepts relating to millennials and our role as it relates to success and guiding success for others. So on this series, again, I'm joined by Stephen Price, Christopher Miller, both great friends of mine, entrepreneur, comedian, entrepreneur, both of which are doing amazing things in their field and really pushing it to a level that we all can aspire to be. So let's actually kick it off with Stephen right now and let's hear his take on this particular topic.
Well, I will discuss passion, right? When a lot of people think about passion, they think about, oh, what's the thing that I love to do so much? Oh my God, it's so great. But what you need to really think of is, what is the thing that you can suffer through all the things that you don't like, right? So for example, let's say I say my passion is comedy, right? But with everything that you like, there is going to be a bunch of things that you don't like that's associated with it. So if the thing is comedy, right? And the thing that I don't like, let's say to be successful at comedy, I need to be able to be a touring comedian and be able to go on the road and be away and be touring in cities and like saying up and like practicing. And if that is the struggle that I don't want to embrace, then no matter how much I like doing comedy, I will not be able to be a successful comedian, right? So when you think of what your passion is, yeah, that's great. Whatever it is you like or whatever you think you like to do, go after that. But you also have to balance that with what is the struggle that you're willing to go through to get it, and make sure that those two things align, right? Because there's a lot of times where we think we want to do something, but the grunt work that it takes to get it, we're not willing to do it. Because when you think of, a lot of times when we look at successful things, when we look at Kevin Hart as a comedian, or if let's say if comedy is not your thing, if your thing is being an artist, a singer, you look at Beyonce and like, oh my God, she's touring at so many sold out shows, but you don't see all the things that she does to get there. You don't see all the practice that she does. You don't see all the struggle that it takes to get there. So you have to be willing to find that thing that you're willing to struggle through if you're going to achieve that passion. So when I think about passion, I think about what is the struggles that I'm willing to take on in order to make my dream come true. And that's what I would say to focus on.
Awesome. So, we think about passion and it's the end result is all great, right? Whatever end outcome is great, but we have to think about the journey which we'll actually take to get there, right? And the struggles, as Stephen is saying, that we'll have to go through to achieve it, because nothing in life comes easy. Anything we actually want and want to strive towards is going to take time. It's going to take ups and downs and effort. It's going to be that journey of difficulty, triumphs, a real uphill, downhill battle. So again, we have to focus on that and stay tuned to that. So Chris, what do you have to say?
Thanks, Paul, and thanks, Stephen, for teeing it up. I think passion is something that I think it's essential. But again, what I would say to anybody is you have to be realistic with yourself about what you're actually passionate about. People fool themselves day in and day out about things that they would like to be passionate about, things that somebody suggested that they be passionate about, things that they fool themselves into thinking that they're passionate about. But at the end of the day, you feel it, right? You know it. You don't have to say any words. You don't have to explain it to anybody. If they know you, they know it. Right, so I think that that's really what I would say. When it comes to passion, is that take it for what it is. Be realistic. Don't look at other perceived notions or definitions of passion. You'll feel it. You'll know it. don't push it off, and don't allow yourself to cast off what is something that you may be passionate about as as anything other than that. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, entrepreneurship is being able to really act on that, right? So it's, I think one of the main things with entrepreneurship that people don't understand is, it takes, a range of different emotions and, really a lot of qualities to engage in entrepreneurship. But the biggest thing, it's really what I was saying about passion, is being realistic about what your chances are, but also being realistic about what your chances are relative to what your passions are, relative to what it is you enjoy doing, relative to the things that you need to do, relative to the things that you don't enjoy doing, right? There are things that you need to do day in, day out. There are things that, you're good at doing day in, day out. There are things that you wouldn't mind doing day in, day out. You need to categorize those things. That's a part of success, and being able to be honest with yourself about what you can realistically manage as an entrepreneur, but what you will also need to rely on other people to fulfill or to serve, right? Entrepreneurship isn't a one-man game. There's so that's the other thing I would say, is that people need to put themselves in the mindset to receive support from their community, and that support could come in ways of in-kinds. It could come in ways of perspective, just feedback, right? Just hearing about how somebody would approach a certain situation, right? So that's what I would say entrepreneurship is about. Really honing that passion, not just taking it for it as something that's carte blanche, but really getting to understand who you are as a person, and starting from there, and then using that to use your passion to drive something that could be a business.
Cool. So we're talking about passion, entrepreneurship. Before we went into this, Stephen was all on the passion aspect, right? And as a comedian, I'm sure there are business sides to what he's doing and his passion, right? And that kind of speaks to entrepreneurship. That speaks to what it takes to be an entrepreneur. And,
Mike, I see something here.
I'm actually going to segue to you.
Oh, sorry, Mike. I'm going to let you finish then.
Let me say that entrepreneurship, as Chris said, is intertwined with whatever your passion may be, right? So as a comedian, and Stephen, tell me, what is the entrepreneurial side of your exploration of passion as it relates to comedy?
Well, the thing with comedy is a lot of comedians, they don't see themselves as entrepreneurs. And I find that as a lot of creatives, you don't really see yourself as a business.
Yeah.
You see yourself as a talent, right? And there was a big fundamental switch for me being a comedian, where I moved to more the business side of the thing as opposed to the art. Yes, I have to focus on the art and make sure that it's good, but also what I did was I started to put on my own shows, right? Instead of trying to be booked on other people's shows and trying to be on the next big show, I was trying to create the next big show. So I think that when you're pursuing your passion, if you're trying to find that big break and you can't quite get it, look at what's around you and see if you can leverage that to create your own platform that you can get your own big break, right? And when you think about, what I wanted to say was, when you think about passion and entrepreneurship, a key is to have malleable goals, like goals that are not just set in stone and fixed. So let's say my goal, let's use comedian for example, right? If my goal in the beginning wasn't to be a comedian. My goal was to be in the profession of doing something funny, right? So I started out not thinking of being a stand-up comedian, but I actually was like, oh yeah, I'd love to be a radio host. So I started there, and I went to school, did a little course on being a host on radio, learning to develop my voice and all of that. And I'm like, all right, I don't see this coming. I need to find a radio station. I need to do all of that. All right, what's the next thing? Then I went into screenwriting, and I was writing comedy for a little bit, not professionally, but I was trying to write my own scripts. And then that led me into comedy. So what I'm saying is, when you think of your passion, think of it. Or if you want to be a stand-up comedian, all right, fine. But can you pull back one layer and say, what is the overarching theme that fits your goals. And then that way you can kind of move around to the different professions that lead into that theme, and you can see which one works better for you. Because a lot of times the thing that you think is that thing that you want to go for, you know, sometimes it is an adjacent thing.
It's a sister,
right?
or a cousin,
or a cousin,
or a nephew,
or a niece, or a stepsister.
All right,
you never
Family,
know, right?
family.
So you have to. I think malleable goals are the key, where you're like, okay, you know what you're drawn towards. So me, I'm drawn towards comedy, but that is so broad. I could be an actor, I could be a writer, I could be a director, you know, I could be a comedian, I could be a TV host, I could be a radio host, you know. So exploring the gamut of all of those and seeing where is it that I think that I fit in best and work with that. Maybe 2 years down the line, I'm like, you know, I don't think stand-up comedy is this thing. Maybe now I go back to writing, you know. So it's like being able to pivot between all of those and not feeling like you're giving up on the thing that you've decided not to go with.
So the takeaway, one of the takeaways here for me particularly is exploration, right? Seeking out what your passion is and actually finding what resonates with you, right? Try new things, try different things, and actually find what it is. You know, it's oftentimes difficult to pinpoint what that thing is, but as we go ahead and actually try different things, we'll actually be able to recognize what that thing is, the thing that resonates with us, the thing that is actually our passion, right? And again, entrepreneurship is an alternative lens which we have to use and apply to this thing that we call passion, and actually use planning and execution to ensure that what we do is in line and streamlined in a way for whatever eventualities that may come about.
Yeah.
So again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay blessed.